Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. We got a Discord server, but most importantly, we have this YouTube channel, this podcast. The YouTube channel is, I don't know, a half dozen subscribers away from the magic number of 1,000. We'd like to get there. We have stalled. If you are watching this and you're not subscribed, please think about it. Consider subscribing. So today, now last week, I did an update on pretty much where in the world is the Lamentations of the Flame Princess ref book. And I wasn't so much upset that we don't have the book. I was upset that we don't have an update. And I understand how it is. I've mentioned elsewhere, I was an administrative sergeant for a number of years, and I'm probably the last person you want in that position for certain reasons, one of which is I'm not the most organized, and I will fall victim to avoidance, like an avoidance syndrome, where if you don't look at something, if you just put it to the side, it's not your problem until it becomes a problem, right? It's that you know it's that jack in the box that's going to come pop out and scare you, but if you don't worry about the cranking, you feel fine until you get to that point. And that would happen to me more often than not. So I'm also some person that often will file an extension on my taxes just because I don't want to deal with filing my taxes. I understand the avoidance. I understand it. So I give a lot of credit to James Raggi for giving us an update on the Lamentations of the Flame Princess referee book in hardcover. Because, I mean, really, pretty much the quality of everything that's come out of Lamentations is top quality. I expect the ref book will be not only top quality, but very usable, and it's why a lot of people are anxious. But again, we want to know that when we haven't been forgotten, and his update shows us that pretty much we have not been forgotten. So let me get to the update. September 2021 update, where we are. When Lamentations of the Flame Princess had its July 2020 releases. Now, this is last year. This was the do or die for James and his company, and they got through that. He got through that. I began telling people that the ref book will be the release cycle after next. Well, that next is happening now. I've got things at the printer, none written by me except for a reprint title, and then a 48-page book from another author that had the text turned in February 2016. If you're wondering how awful we are at moving projects along in general, that just tells me that James should not be kickstarting or crowdfunding stuff until it's actually written, laid out, ready to go, and be published. And some people are like that. Most people are like that. Let's be honest. Okay, most people, when I say most, yes, Gareth, I'm pointing my fat fingers at your fat face. I'm going to say that people, when you pay them up front for something and they've produced nothing up front, it's then hard to get people to say, well, I already got paid for it. Now, why am I working? With Gareth, we're going to be coming up on 10 years late. That is an albatross around somebody's neck as a publisher. I don't know what is. So again, good for James for updating. In any case, that's still the plan, which means that after these releases, the ref book is up next. Hopefully the next cycle isn't 15 months away again. But, well, it's not like anyone here will or should put stock in any announced timetables. And I agree with that. You know, but now we have an idea of where it is and what's going on, and that's what's coming up. Now, I had this idea of printing out everything I currently have for the ref book and doing a visual presentation, a physical thing to look at, as some sort of assurance that this whole thing isn't complete in vaporware. I don't believe it's vaporware, James. I don't think many of us do. I just think that it was like a clog in the toilet. You had to get clear. It looks like it's finally getting clear. But really, that'd be a waste of a ream and a half of paper and toner, and it probably would be. Instead, I'll just tell you what we have. Over 375,000 words total. 70,000 plus of that is adventure material. That I find exciting and interesting because adventure material in a rough book is going to probably be hooks, seeds, things that as a DM, GM, you're expected to flesh out. And James is great for stuff like that. All original except for 8,500 words for A Stranger Storm. I don't know if that'll have to go on a chopping block, so this is only a ridiculous size book instead of an impossibly big size book. But it would be nice to keep it in a current edition. Almost 40,000 words of magic items, over 70,000 words of monsters, and then miscellany. This is in addition to the over 60 pages of art plus covers that have already been in hand. Still to do art for the original adventure material, the additional commentaries, and some game stat stuff for an appendix. I had wanted to try to edit this thing down so that it didn't have to be a multi-volume thing, but I'll see what I can do. But a 1,000-page book with really thin pages just might not be the best way to present this thing. And after all this time, I have no intention of getting cheap or cutting corners in the final stretch. I tip my virtual hat to you, James. Sounds pretty good. So there it is. Not a very monumental update. And this is where James, James, this is a monumental update. This is huge for your backers to see what's coming and to have some idea what the vision is. We weren't here. Now, I mean, honestly, companies like Lamentations live or die, thrive or wither based upon the loyalty of the fans. And I think that this should revitalize some of the people that have felt this project has gone long in the tooth, including myself, although I was a big backer during the pandemic's July 2020 say Lamentations sale, promotion, whatever. And I know James plans on releasing at least 8-10 products in the coming months that are all going to print. I mean, I'll probably be picking them all up. So, but I thought I should pop in and mention that it is now the on deck. Thank you. That's all. Again, people just want to be shown the respect that they're not forgotten. We're not forgotten. It's now the on deck thing at long last, and it's been a while since I have put an update in this space instead of just mentioning it elsewhere on social media. I'm going to get to that in a second. More updates I have something actual informative to actually say. I'd guess in a couple of months from now. Thank you, James. Here's the thing, and it isn't just James. There's a lot of companies. Heck, Lone Star Game Expo didn't update its actual webpage when they said, hey, we're canceling October's convention. They did it on Facebook. Now, I understand that I use Facebook, don't get me wrong. I own one or two communities there. I am an admin and many more. I update everything I put up, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's a blog post, gets shared out in multiple places on Facebook. But here's the thing, okay? Some people believe that Facebook is the internet. When I booted somebody for harassing individuals in the taverns community, Facebook, on its own, gave them a 7 or 14-day timeout. And it was like, whoa, Tencor had me booted from the internet. Facebook is not the internet. Facebook is just a step above the scummy Twitter that we think of when we think of like the original Star Wars movie, right? And they go to Cantina. Here's the thing. Yes, a lot of people are on Twitter, and a lot of people avoid it like it is the fucking plague. So, putting updates on social media does not reach the people necessarily that have backed a Kickstarter project, an Indiegogo project. But why do creators, and this is just going to be a general statement, and I am not speaking for anybody in particular, but well, all right, I'll speak for one in particular. I'll probably speak for Gareth. Why does Gareth not give any updates? Why do you say I'm not going to be giving any updates on the Kickstarter page until I have content to give? And therefore, we haven't seen anything in, I don't know, close to 2 years. Because when it comes to commentary on the Kickstarter page, when it comes to commentary on the Indiegogo, it is not controlled by the project creator. You have somebody who, all right, we'll say somebody's being an asshole and they're doing deliberate trolling. You can't delete it. Somebody might not be, maybe they're being an asshole, but have a legitimate gripe. They, as long as they're not using offensive language, Kickstarter is likely to leave that up, right? Indiegogo is likely to leave that comment up. Facebook, it's your post. Goodbye. I remove it. So Facebook is a way to certainly mold the message and control the conversation. When you have conversations that are on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, on these other platforms, they can't be controlled. That's why a lot of creators, especially the ones that have gone late in completing and providing and producing, avoid giving updates. You'll see that they won't log into some of these projects for months or longer because they don't want the negative feedback. And I understand it's a mental health issue for some. I understand that. And I'm going to probably have to do an episode on, what kind of mental strength or abilities do you need to do a successful Kickstarter if you don't hit the mark and get it out on release or get it out in the quality that people are expecting. It's a hump to get over, and a lot of people avoid it. I understand why. So, I'm glad we have this update. This is where it should have been, and I'm glad we got it, and it makes me feel much better about the progress, and much better about the project in general, and much better about Lamentations of the Flame Princess as a publisher. I got a better view of where it's going, where it's going to be. So, again, I thank James. I wish him luck. And when he starts releasing the stuff in the next couple of months, I'm sure I'll be backing it. I'll be sharing it out with my readers, with my listeners. Folks, on that note, we are still in the midst of the world of the pandemic. Use your common sense. I'm not saying what you need to do. You're all adults or close to it. I don't know how, but aside from my niece, I don't know how many of the younger generation are listening, but use your common sense when it comes to COVID. Please. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice. Knock on wood. I will be back again tomorrow with Bad Mike for a live episode of Talking Crit at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Special guest, maybe. Or maybe it's just going to be me and Mike ranting at the world. I don't know yet. You'll be as surprised as we are. All right, folks. On that note, I'm going to bow out. I will catch you later.